About a half hour ago. August 12, 1981. And what is your full name, Paul?
Paul Richard Rohde.
And Paul, the reason I'm here is because I do stories about people at Two Rivers that have been around for 20, 30, 40 years. How long have you been in business? Did you start out in the milk business?
Yes. I started in the milk business in 1933. And I was in it for 40 years. And then the home delivery just went down the drain with all the big supermarkets coming in, so I went in the car wash and filling station business, and I've been in since 73.
Well, let's see. Let's first of all start out. What year were you born, Paul?
1915, May 2nd.
1915?
15.
And what were your parents' names?
Richard, my dad's name was Richard Rohde, and my mother's name was Martha.
Martha what?
Schramm. Rohde.
And then they were born in Wisconsin?
Yes, yes.
Did their parents come over from across the
Their
field?
parents come from Germany.
And what nationality are you?
German.
100% German?
100%.
And 1915, you were born in Two Rivers?
Right.
Were your parents farmers, or what did they do?
No, my dad was a machinist at Kallenberg's for 48 years.
Your mother was a homemaker?
Mother was just a housewife, homemaker.
And you lived in the city of Two Rivers?
Right.
The city of Two Rivers must have been quite smaller than compared to today.
It was. I was born on Hawthorne Avenue, and I'm only living a block away from where I was born right now, so I've been on the south side all my life.
In 1915, there must not have been very many blacktop roads or concrete roads.
No, there was a lot of dirt roads, cinder roads. They used to get a lot of cinders from the Muro Aluminum Company, and the city got them, and they put that on the road instead of the blacktop. If it wasn't gravel, it was cinder roads.
In 1915, you were born, and then what grade school did you go to?
I went to the old Roosevelt School on the south side where the Crescent Woolen Mills is now. That's where I went to school, and then there was a barracks there. That barracks has moved, but the 5th and 6th grade we were in the barracks.
Barracks?
An old barracks, yeah, just a wooden barracks with 2 rooms in and a little stove in the middle with hot water heat that in winter when it was real cold, we were even allowed to keep our coats on, and that it never got that warm in the classroom.
That school had all 1 through 8th grade all in one classroom?
No, we were all in separate grades there, but the 5th and 6th grade were in the barracks, and the other from kindergarten through 4th grade was in the old Roosevelt School, what's the Crescent Woolen Mills now.
In grade school you went to high school?
Yeah.
Where was that?
Up at Washington High School.
It must have been just built around that time, huh? Or what year was that built?
No, that was built I graduated in 33. I think that high school was built in around 19 21, 20, something like that.
You went to the Two Rivers High School up here.
Right.
Where did you meet your wife?
In Manitowoc.
She's a Manitowoc girl?
Manitowoc girl, right.
And how old were you when you met her?
I would think I was about 19.
You were 19?
Mm-hmm.
And is she younger than you?
Yeah, she's 2 years younger than me.
Well, then you must have met her when she was still in high school.
She was still in high school, yeah.
And how did you meet her?
Oh, just out gallivanting around with a couple buddies that we bumped into them in her dad's tavern is where
Her dad owned a tavern? Where was that?
on 10th Street, where this, right across from St. Boniface on 10th Street. I don't know who's got the tavern now, but there's still a tavern there yet. What they had.
Have your own car when you were 19?
Saved up all my money, bought a car for $75, and they put in a new battery and a new starter for a total price of $75. A Model A Roadster.
Model A Roadster. You wish you had that car today.
Right.
What year was that car?
It was a 1930.
1930. And then, where would you go with your girlfriend at that time?
Oh, we did a lot of riding around. You couldn't go in the taverns too much, outside taverns, because they'd boot you out of there. And we just do a lot of riding. We used to go to Elkhart Lake and Crystal Lake a lot, swimming, and Pigeon Lake, places like that.
How about the county fair? Was that a big thing in those days?
County fair was a big thing in those days. We really worked to go out in the country and help thrash to get a few dollars to go to county fair. Of course, you could go to county fair with a couple dollars and still come home with change and have a big time.
That time the county fair was right in Manitowoc.
Right in Manitowoc, yes.
That's what everybody looked for was the county fair.
That was a big deal in those days.
Uh-huh. Remember the trolley cars?
Oh, yeah. Come down to Rivers here and went up as far as 22nd Street, and then they switched and the controls on the top, and then it went back down to 16th Street and down across the bridge, old the Muro plant, and then out Roosevelt Avenue and back to Manitowoc.
You remember any of the old businesses like Muro or Hamilton's when they first started out or struggling?
Well,
business always pretty good for those guys?
Business seems to be pretty good in town here. We have been fortunate. We have some businesses here that hold pretty steady employment year-round. So we've been pretty fortunate all the way through here. Even to this day, it's been good with Hamilton, Eggers, Miro, Paragon, and that. We've been more than fortunate here. We have no big layoffs or anything like that.
Did you go to any branches of service?
I had to go down for examination to Milwaukee, and when it was our turn to get called up or been in that bracket, that's when they didn't take them at over age 26 anymore, and I was 27 at the time, so...
That was for World War II?
Yeah.
So you were actually a year over...
I was just 1 year over the limit when they cut it. It was towards the tail end of the war, and then they cut back on the draft days. They weren't taking the older ones anymore at that time.
Well, what year now did you go into, you graduated from high school. What did you do then?
Graduated from high school, and the night after graduation, I went to work for my uncle delivering milk at 1:30 in the morning.
And who is your uncle?
Emil Rohde.
Did he had his own milk route?
He had the milk route at the time, yeah.
That was nice refrigerated truck.
No, there was no such thing as refrigeration in those days. There was just ice boxes that they had, and you throw ice over the load.
And how many times did you have to go back and reload?
Just just once. We'd go to Manitowoc and pick up our load and ice it down. But we started delivering at we went to work at 1:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. We were all done delivering. I could crawl back in bed because the people wanted their milk early. There wasn't much refrigeration around. So you had to get the milk there so they'd have it for breakfast.
And then, how long did you work for him?
I worked for him from 1933 until, I think it was 1940. And then he retired, and then I took over. He gave the whole thing to me, and I took over.
In 1940, you took over?
Myself, yeah.
And then, do you remember what the price of milk was in 1930 and 1940?
Well, the cheapest we ever delivered it for was a nickel a quart, but a lot of it at the time then it went to 8 and 9, 10 cents a quart was the going price. But in the milk war, once we delivered it for 5 cents a quart.
Milk war? What?
Oh, they'd come in, farmers would come in with milk, with raw milk and with cans, and they'd set up on the street corner and they'd sell the milk that way until finally the state stopped them. They said it was too unsanitary. So, but when the milk war was on, we delivered it for 5 cents a quart.
Now, there must have been a lot of milkmen that you could take one load out and you're done for the day.
Yeah.
Your trucks couldn't have been that big.
No, but there were 21 milkmen in town at one time. Dealers that come in, farmers around and all that. There were 21 at one time.
At one time, 21 different people.
Right, that were...
And years ago, a lot of farmers used to process their own milk?
Right. They would process it, then they'd bottle a little bit. They didn't sell a lot. They'd sell 50, 60, 70 quarts they'd come to town with, but there were 21.
And with all the sanitation laws, they eliminated a lot of that.
That cut it back, yeah. The minute they started to, the state started to come in and check on stuff, that eliminated a lot of them, and they all fell by the wayside.
Who's all left in Terrific?
I think there is only one that does home delivery in Terrific here yet, and that's Eric Stebbs, and he's delivering for Morning Glory, but I think he's the only one that has any home delivery left yet.
And he bought your old truck?
Yeah. I sold it to Fischel's, and then Fischel's sold out to Very Fine, and Eric was working for Very Fine at the time, so he ended up with my old truck.
And how many children do you have?
3 boys.
And what do they all do?
Doug has 3 bookstores, one in Manitowoc, one in Oshkosh, and one in Green Bay. And Greg is a pharmacist. He has his own pharmacy up in Sturgeon Bay. And Guy has taken over the station in Carmel.
And Guy's your youngest one?
Right.
Any plans for marriage for Guy?
Well, not in the near future, I don't think.
Well, let's talk about your wife a little bit. I heard she likes to work with dogs a lot, huh?
Yeah, she used to be she trimmed poodles for about 10 years. And that's when the poodle was the big thing. But then it seems to have died off too. There isn't that many dogs to be trimmed, and she more or less give it up. It was a back-breaking job, and that she couldn't stand it anymore. So she quit it. She still likes dogs. We have 2 that she has to trim. She trims our own and that, but not professionally anymore.
Now, in wintertime, you like to spend your couple winter months in Florida? Where is that in Florida?
No.
I mean, Arizona.
We go to Arizona, Sun City, Arizona.
It's nice down there, huh?
It's nice down there. We're real fortunate. My wife inherited a small home down there from her aunt. Her aunt had lived with us for 3.5 years, and when she died, she had left her the home, so we were fortunate in that respect, and we go down there and spend the winters now. The taxes down there are only $95 a year compared to my taxes in the house here, about $1,400, so we're going to head for Arizona.
What do you think of the future of the river?
Looks great. Oh, there's a few empty stores around, but that you find all over. That it seemed there was a trend to go out to the shopping centers outside of town and that, but I think that's going to reverse and come back again because people just don't chase out that far no more with the price of gas, and I think they're going to come back to town again and the stores, and they'll be all right here too.
Well, in the wintertime, it must have been awful hard to get the milk trucks around. What did you guys do? Because of the
well, they didn't have the equipment years back to remove the snow, and if it got too bad, we couldn't get through with the truck, or we'd have to do a lot of walking. And when that got too bad, my uncle had a team of horses. We would get those horses and go out delivering that way, and it was a full day's work from early in the morning till late at night to get around, to get all the customers, and a lot of times we never made them all. Just the outlying ones never got milk or anything like that, but it was just, people in those days knew what was happening and what it was. I don't know if you could get away with that today if you forgot them. They'd holler and scream, but those days, when the weather was bad, they knew what it was all about, and they would put up with it. If you didn't get there for a couple days, they weren't too upset. So,
what about problems with freezing of the milk?
Well, that used to be a problem. We delivered a lot of, it was all in glass bottles, and we delivered a lot of stuff that looked like ice cream cones, but we had to be careful that it didn't freeze too much and smash the bottles. But that was the biggest problem in winter when it was cold, to keep the milk from freezing. Of course, then we would only take a part of a load out. We had a heated building, and we would bring our load in from Manitowoc and put it in there, and we'd only go out with part at a time and then come back and reload again. Otherwise, everything would be froze before we could get it delivered.
Who were some of the men that worked for you when you had the route?
Well, Robert Watson was one of them. He's an architectural engineer, I guess, now, and he has his own business over in Appleton, and his dad was John Watson from the Watson Electrical outfit. And I had a George Zimmer worked for me, and Cookie Zimmer worked for me, and Vernon Zimmer worked for me. They were all brothers, and just the way they grew up, they would work for me. And I also had a couple of the Aarons boys, Virgil Aarons, and it was Ira Aarons worked for me too in that age. Just the way the kids were all out looking for a little job to earn a couple cents, and we'd take them along to Manitowoc, and they could eat all the ice cream they wanted, and that was the big deal. That they could go along and eat all the ice cream, drink all the chocolate milk they wanted. So, and outside of that, Vernon Zimmer worked for me for 17 years. He was the longest one that I had working for me.
Do you think prices are out of hand today, Paul, or is just everything inflated? In other words, people are making more money and they're paying more money.
We're just handling more money is all we're really doing. Everybody is, you don't get a chance to save very much. You just handle it, and that's all. You pay a big price for something, you got to pay a big price to get it, and you have to get a big price in return. So you're no further ahead now. That I made more money back in the 50s when milk was 12, 13 cents a quart, I believe, than they're making today. And we only made a couple cents a quart profit, but it went further.
What do you think of the future? Do you think it's a good idea to go in outer space?
Well, yes, I would say it's all right to go in outer space and all that, but I still think they could concentrate more on an engine of some kind that would conserve gas. I mean, if they can put a man on the moon, they sure should be able to build a motor that would give us double the mileage in gas.
Are you worried about the neutron bomb and all this stuff that they're talking about with Reagan in office now?
No, not really. I don't think he'd go off on the deep end or anything, because he values his life just as much as the rest of us, and I don't think he'd do anything desperate to.
You believe that the United States government should have a real strong armed forces that will just stop?
Well, they always say the only way to keep peace is to be strong, and then nobody will start anything, so I'm a firm believer in that.
And what about the future of the gas stations? Do you think the price of gas is going to go... The price of gas right now today is about $1.37 for regular unleaded, $1.41 for super shell unleaded.
I don't think it's going to go much higher than this. It seems to have stabilized now, and everybody seems to be happy. Big oil companies seem to be happy, and people are reserved to the fact that that's what the price of gas is going to be, and they're starting to travel a little bit again like they were years back, because we have, when it comes right down to it, we had cheap gas in this country for years compared to the foreign countries, and it's still cheap here today compared to what it is in the foreign countries, so we really have nothing to squawk about, I would say.
In 1963, when I came into business, and in 1950 when I was in grade school, the big thing for us, for our family, was to have a nice chicken dinner on Sunday and take a little ride in the car. Maybe go out to eat maybe once or twice a year to a supper club or a restaurant. And now people are complaining that they don't have enough money, but they're driving great big campers. They have cottages up north. Everybody's got 2-3 cars, 2-3 color televisions, and we only had, when I was a child, we had a radio and TV, black and white. What do you think? Do you think people are better off today?
They sure are. They go out and eat a lot, and they travel a lot. And as far as squawking, that they're always going to do. Because if the people start squawking once, then you're in trouble. The minute, as long as they keep on squawking and hollering, they're all right. But when they stop squawking once, then it's no good.
Thank you very much for this interview. It's been very nice talking to you. And I wish you and your wife a lot of success in the future.
Thank you.